Hi, I'm Michelle Fondin, and I'm the author of The Wheel of Healing with Ayurveda, an easy guide to a healthy lifestyle. Today, I'm going to read to you the preface and the introduction to The Wheel of Healing with Ayurveda so you can really hear the beginning of this book and see if it intrigues you to read more. Preface: My story. Looking back to my earliest memory of health, I know that I have always been health conscious, but not necessarily healthy. At age 12, I read Richard Simmons' book on weight loss and watched his videos. I went on to practice Jane Fonda-style workouts and started taking yoga at age 18. And so my passion for healthy living began. But it wasn't until I was 28 years old and the mother of 2 small children that my life took a sharp turn. I received the devastating news that no one ever wants to hear. You have cancer. My diagnosis was thyroid cancer. All through the process, I kept asking the doctors, what caused me to get cancer? None of them could give me a remotely intelligible answer. I was dissatisfied with this lack of knowledge. Deep within me, I knew there had to be a reason why, at 28, I had allowed myself to become ill, and I didn't stop until I found that reason. In a serendipitous event, I was led to Ayurveda, a 5,000-year-old medical system developed in India. A friend handed me the book Perfect Health by Dr. Deepak Chopra, and it introduced me to a medical system that understood my question. The practice of Ayurveda takes you to the root cause of illness by helping you understand how it originates in you. After some time, I began practicing an Ayurvedic lifestyle and saw results. I did not refuse traditional allopathic treatment, however, and went through 2 surgeries and radioactive iodine treatments. But Ayurveda helped me on my path to healing because at my core, I knew that if I didn't discover the why, I would only allow myself to get sick again. I also combed through every aspect of my life to search for answers. My logic was that even if one area of my life stayed out of balance, I was opening up myself to illness. The idea for this book came out of my multifaceted approach to healing. My journey through illness and into wellness again made me believe that if I was frustrated by the current medical system, with its lack of answers, there must be countless others who are equally frustrated. The Wheel of Healing with Ayurveda is designed to help you find the answers you seek by discovering your own inner healer. The advice I offer you is practical, easy, logical, and intuitive. Ayurveda takes a balanced approach and does not suggest you go to extremes. Be wary of any health plan that does. Know that, like anything authentic, change takes time. Be patient with yourself and don't expect results overnight. On my personal journey, it was 3 years after my cancer treatment before I felt I was in optimal health. That's longer than most people will take. But if I had given up, I wouldn't be where I am today at age 43, much healthier than I ever was before age 28. To quote one of my favorite teachers, Dr. Chopra, Ayurveda is not about adding years to your life. It's about adding life to your years. Let's begin adding life to your years. You came to your life, this parenthesis in time, so you could live it. Introduction: Reinventing the Wheel. In the current economic, political, and social climate in the United States, the topic of health is more important than ever. At the time of this writing, in 2014, a major part of the American population is obese. According to the most recent figures released by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, 35.7% of people in this country are overweight. 7 out of 10 deaths among Americans each year result from chronic diseases. Heart disease, cancer, and stroke account for more than 50% of all deaths each year. And the following statistic is staggering. In 2005, 133 million Americans, or 1 out of every 2 adults, 50%, had at least one chronic illness. And what do all of these illnesses have in common? All are almost 100% preventable. Yet the problem of illness continues. Healthcare costs have become astronomical, and even with our government-sponsored healthcare, costs will continue to rise. We have developed innovative technology, great resources for research, and experimental medicines, all in an effort to cure any illness known to humankind. Still, we continue to become more ill as a whole as the years pass. What are the reasons for this incongruence? One reason may be the discovery of disease in its later stages. Many people have a heart attack or stroke, or learn they have cancer when their disease is well advanced. In those cases, all the technology or medicine in the world may not help them, so they may simply remain ill. A second reason may be the fragile state of many patients. Elderly individuals and small children are more susceptible to certain illnesses, and the medicines or procedures used to treat them may cause their bodies more harm than good. Cost is another reason many people remain ill. Up until January 2014, many Americans had no health insurance or they had poor health insurance. In either case, a sick person was more likely to wait until the symptoms were unbearable before going to the doctor, and even then, many treatments were cost prohibitive, and patients literally could not access them. One of the most common reasons for illness today is lifestyle. What we do and what we don't do is killing us. This news is actually more good than bad, though. For the most part, we are in direct control of our lifestyle. Even if we're skeptical, we can, by changing certain daily routines and habits, improve our health. At some point in time, responsibility for our wellness shifted to someone out there. Somehow, we relinquished control of our health to someone or something else. Doctors, health insurance companies, drug companies, food growers, chemists, and yes, even advertisers. This relinquishment has spiraled so far out of control that we no longer know who to blame for our ill health. The solution doesn't appear to lie in the future, so let's turn backward to the wisdom of the ages. The concept discussed in The Wheel of Healing brings control and responsibility back to you. By taking charge of your life and learning how to use the 8 spokes of the Ayurvedic Wheel of Healing, you can work your way toward wellness. Taking charge, however, does not necessarily mean that your health will always be perfect. There are too many variables to permit predicting such an outcome. But rest assured that by making changes, you will be better equipped to process illness when and if it does occur. As you regain control, any fear you have about your health will dissipate. As your fear dissipates, you will be able to focus your energy on living life to the fullest. Living your life to the fullest will enable you to live the life you aspire to. And as you refocus, you will learn to expand your definition of health. For the most part, when we think of health, we refer to our physical body. If our body is strong and pain-free, we declare that we are healthy. But if our body is experiencing aches and pains or other indication of illness, we claim we are sick. The shift that is about to take place in your belief system will result from embracing the healing system that I discuss in this book. Throughout the book, I refer to Ayurveda, a mind-body medical system from India. My training in and practice of Ayurveda has allowed me to utilize its concept of wholeness in my life and in the lives of hundreds of clients who notice immediate results when applying its principles. The principles of wholeness may be understood from the following example. Suppose you are in the market to buy a home. You've decided on several different qualities that you look for in a home. For example, you spend a lot of time in the kitchen cooking gourmet meals, and so a beautiful, useful kitchen is your number one priority. But you would also like a home with large windows, a decent-sized master bath and 4 bedrooms, and it must be reasonably priced and located on a quiet street. Once you find a real estate agent, you explain your passion for cooking and how you enjoy coming home from work, preparing meals, and eating with your family. You then explain the other things you'd like in a home. The well-intentioned agent, however, hears only the part about the kitchen and proceeds to show you a series of homes with terrific kitchens, paying no attention to your other specifications. After viewing homes with beautiful kitchens and high price tags, cramped master baths, and small windows, homes that are all located in the middle of the city or have only 2 bedrooms, you complain to the agent that he's not showing you what you want. He responds, "But you said you love to cook in a well-equipped kitchen. All these homes have fantastic kitchens." Seeing health as related only to the physical body is the same as buying a house because of a single room. Most of us would agree that it takes many different aspects to compel us to purchase a home. A home is a big investment of our resources and time. If we base the purchase on one aspect, we may find ourselves with big problems later when we discover faulty plumbing, a tattered roof, or restricted closet space. Like our home, our health is a big investment. Learning how to live life according to a holistic model requires an investment of our time and money. But if we adopt the principles that I outlined in the following chapters, the payoff will immeasurably outweigh the cost. But it's also true that without good physical health, we may find it difficult to focus on the many aspects of the wheel that I introduce here. For that reason, we will begin our journey with Dharma, meaning purpose in life, and with physical health and its close companion, emotional health. Relationship health and healing our past are subdivisions of emotional health, and we will address those as well. The next aspect, spiritual health, ties physical and emotional health together. We will then delve into 3 other aspects of health: environmental health, occupational health, and financial health. Why the wheel? I chose the analogy of the wheel for many reasons. First, a wheel is a continuum. It has no beginning and no end. The integrity of the wheel is extremely important, as in the case of a bicycle wheel. If you don't know how to ride a bike, it may be impossible to imagine that it will support your weight and move forward on 2 skinny wheels, yet it works. But if a wheel is missing some spokes or the rim is bent, balancing becomes more difficult. If you continue to ride a bike that is missing spokes, it may support your weight for a time, but the wheel will eventually collapse from the lack of wholeness. So too with our bodies and our health. We may get by for a time without elements essential to our health. For example, we may exercise too little or omit vegetables from our diet. But if we continue, eventually our health will fail. It is inevitable. The mystery in human health is multifaceted. We cannot attain perfect health simply by eating properly while ignoring exercise or emotional health. To observe this point, talk to someone who eats healthfully but doesn't have loving relationships. Or talk to someone who exercises daily but hates his job. Once you do this, the concept of wholeness will begin to be revealed to you. The second reason I chose the wheel is because you can touch it on any side. You don't have to pass through a maze to access a certain area. You don't have to complete your work on one side in order to start another. You can start on one side, then turn the wheel around and begin on the opposite side. As you will see, all parts are completely integrated. And when you begin an exploration of one side, you immediately begin to access other sides without consciously starting. Perhaps a lack in one area of your life led you to pick up this book. If that's the case, you can begin with that particular area of the wheel and move on to the next. Taking back your health and your life. You need not go very far to get advice on how you should live your life or improve your health. We are bombarded today more than ever with the latest and greatest trend. From pomegranate seeds and goji berries to chia seeds, every week it's something different. An additional thing that may take place on our already crammed lists. If it's not the latest food or supplement, it's the next powerful drug claiming to make us younger and happier or to give us a better sex life. All this advice, whether good or bad, always does one specific thing. It draws us outside of ourselves to seek wellness, and in the end, this makes us crazy. Because to be honest, who do you listen to? Really, who can you trust when the advice is changing so rapidly? At the time of this writing, many of my clients are turning to daytime talk shows for advice on diet, exercise, and balancing their lives. Frankly, I have nothing against talk shows, and I'm sure that guests on the shows have plenty of knowledge. But again, much of the advice doesn't empower the spectators to take charge of their own health by tuning into what's going on inside. And since much of the information is piecemeal, it doesn't necessarily give them the tools to follow a complete program to get and stay healthy. Ayurvedic medicine teaches people to first look inward. Get to know yourself inside and out. Know what makes you tick. And what makes you tick is probably different from what makes the other people in your life tick. If you do not take this crucial step first, no sprout, herb, vitamin, juice, or drug will help you. Back in the 1980s, the rising trend was to see fat in the diet as a bad thing. Everything had to be fat-free or you could not lose weight, according to the claims. As a result, the food companies began producing fat-free everything, even fat-free butter, which is naturally 100% fat. I was 18 years old at the height of this trend, and like many teenage girls, wanted to lose a few pounds. So I began a fat-free diet. I made sure not to add any fat whatsoever to my diet. Then a couple of things happened. First, I began to lose my appetite. Food literally made me sick. I could not stomach fat-free cheese, yogurt, or dressings. I found them too sweet and sickening. Second, I began to experience headaches and a slump in energy, and my mood was terrible. I did manage to lose some weight, but at the cost of my well-being. Finally, after a few months, as happens with any diet that excludes a major food group, my body retaliated. I gave up, pigged out on all the fat my body had been craving, and regained the weight. Years later, when I discovered Ayurvedic medicine, I learned why my body had responded so poorly to the fat-free diet. First of all, our bodies need fat to survive. This is especially true of the human brain, which is 60% fat, making it the fattiest organ in the body. Moreover, my Ayurvedic mind-body type is composed of generous amounts of space and air. The absence of fat only increases these elements in the body, mind, and for me this led to disaster. What often happens is that our body gives us signals of discomfort when we do something that is not nourishing us. Then our mind overrides these signals with reasons why this thing is in fact good for us, even when in reality it's not. At those moments, we are overriding our body's natural intelligence. Taking responsibility for your health. One concept you must embrace before beginning this journey is the concept of taking responsibility for your own health and well-being. By purchasing this book, you've taken the first step. But fully knowing that you are the one directly influencing your health is the key to turning your health around for the better. The shift that you will make is from a victim mindset to a responsibility-based mindset. One is reactive and the other is proactive. If you are to heal completely and live more fully, it's essential that you let go of the victim mindset. That mindset says, I can't get healthy because, or I'm unhealthy because my husband or my wife, my job, my mother, and so on stresses me out. When we have that mindset, we get angry when the people around us don't respond favorably when we are ill. My question to you is, how can you expect others to care more about your health than you do? Taking responsibility for your health doesn't mean blaming yourself. It simply means taking charge. Don't wait for your spouse to cook you healthy meals. Instead, go shopping, use the principles in this book, and make dinner yourself. If you don't know how to cook, take a cooking class. And don't put off exercise by waiting for the next paycheck to come to you so you can join a gym. Put on a pair of sneakers and comfortable clothing now, get outside and walk for 20 or 30 minutes. There will always be excuses that let you avoid improving your health, more excuses than you can probably conjure up in your mind right now. But there is an equal number of opportunities to grasp each and every day. When you make this shift, you can be a beacon of light for others to follow. Focus on why you desire health. Let that desire be your guide and motivation, and then go for it. You are the one who cares the most about you. And finally, know that this is a journey. It may commence here, but it's a journey that will last your lifetime. So let the journey begin. Your commitment to yourself. Here, or in your journal, write down the commitment that you are making to yourself by reading this book. Then sign and date the page following the example below. My commitment to myself during the process of reading The Wheel of Healing with Ayurveda is, then sign and date it. So thank you so much for listening to the preface and introduction of The Wheel of Healing with Ayurveda, an easy guide to a healthy lifestyle. My publisher, New World Library, will be coming out with an audio version of the book very soon, so you can look out for that if you liked hearing me read it, because I do read the book on audio as well. If you don't yet have The Wheel of Healing with Ayurveda, you can purchase it anywhere books are sold, on Amazon, barnesandnoble.com. You can also purchase it on my website, thewheelofhealing.com. And I look forward to hearing back from you. You can connect with me via Facebook, Twitter, at michellefondin.com as well. And happy holidays.